Hello folks and welcome to today's vlog. I think summer has officially arrived. According to the car, it's 16 degrees, which it's windy. So windy my hair's gone in an extravagant manner, but very, very windy. My microphone is, I can actually see it shaking around on top of the camera. I bet that sounds delightful. More important than any of that though, it's the return of Andy to the vlog. He's not very happy. Doesn't seem very well, which is probably understandable. Continuation from yesterday. He's not eaten a lot in the last 48 hours. He's probably had maybe 6 bags of crisps in nearly 2 days. So they did manage to get him eating last night after getting in touch with us. Would have been nice for him to get in touch maybe a little bit earlier rather than leaving it. Well, it had been in more than 24 hours. So we dropped him off at 5 PM on Friday. And we got the call from them about 6:30 on Saturday saying he hadn't eaten anything at all at that point. So for me, would have made a little bit more sense to maybe make the call Saturday lunchtime, and then we could have got it in place a little bit sooner. But it's about 2:30 on Sunday now. He's had 2 or 3 packets today apparently, through a process of just selecting his own, and he just doesn't seem very well at all. He's got a nasty cough, which he didn't have when we dropped him off. He had the early stages of like a chesty cough, but it wasn't like this, and he just doesn't really seem with it at all. Straight back where we were 2 weeks ago almost. I'm hoping it's just because he's not eaten. He does still want to go to see the stump, which we always do when we pick him up from his respite. He doesn't want his DS though. I think Anna's got it, but he didn't want to bring it, didn't want to have to carry it. Has asked that we don't do any of the other stuff that he normally wants to do. So he doesn't want to go to KFC, doesn't want to hang around and wait about. He just wants to have, doesn't even want to go to the ATM, just wants to go and look at the church and then leave again. And hopefully once he eats, things will start to improve a little bit, because on Friday he was talking about wanting to go to the windmill when we picked him up, but no interest in that at all either. So fingers crossed the church and a few bags of crisps when we get home will start to perk him back up again, and we're not going to be back in a cycle of he was ill, then I was ill, now I'm better and he's going to get ill again. If we're just going to keep making each other ill for the whole of winter, that's going to be rubbish.
There we go.
Yeah. Excellent.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Good. Belle's on the way over. Marvellous. And we're still walking, so double marvellous. Huh?
It hasn't been for ages. They were turned off.
I don't know, time before last, when I came. No, we had the same thing. Belle was on the way over.
Oh, between Christmas and
Yeah.
New Year. Hold your hand. Relax, hold up. Let me be sure.
Lego model taking shape.
Time for get ATM
Okay.
and then home.
What is this though?
ATM and then home.
There you go, he's feeling better already. One walk around there. Now he wants to go to the ATM, which he didn't 2 minutes ago. So we're making progress.
Oh, do you want this one?
Yeah.
Right, and then 10. Thank you.
You working tomorrow, Ollie?
Thank you. How much is that?
£5.
No?
£10. It's time to go home.
Okay. Hand.
This way.
You want to go that way? Okay. You put your nose on me.
So yeah, the eating thing is a problem again. I feel really poorly again as well, but Andy is properly poorly again. we did take him to McDonald's on the way back from Boston, and he had maybe half a bread roll, but just threw the rest away, lied down on the seat. It just wasn't engaged or interested in doing anything at all. We got him home, tried to get some crisps into him, tried to get some pop into him, tried some water with his new cup that we got the day before, tried all of that, not really interested in anything. He had maybe a couple of bags of crisps, but wasn't eating them all. He would take a couple of bites and then scrunch them up and throw them in the bin. And to be fair, if he's got what I've got, which I guess he probably has, he's like 3 or 4 days, if not a little bit longer, into the coughing stage that I've hit now, which is just a constant hacking, horrible cough. And at the moment, I can't stand the taste of things that I normally love. Specifically coffee. I haven't had a cup of coffee for like 5 days. I love coffee. I live on coffee. At the moment, coffee tastes horrible and it makes me feel sick. So I'm not drinking coffee. Also, anything crunchy or scratchy really hurts my throat. So I'm not eating anything like that. Now, for Andy, if 1 or 2 of the things that he likes to consume most often, like me with coffee, the taste has changed while he's got this horrible in his throat. Plus, it hurts if he eats scratchy foods, and that's why he's not eating anything. He's not eating any crisps at all, because they probably taste different to what they normally do, and they're scratching him, they're hurting as he's eating them. I had a piece of popcorn on Friday, and it just sat there scratching on the back of my throat for like 5 hours. It was really uncomfortable. And so I can understand why he's not eating, but obviously we're now worried that because he's not really eating anything at all, it's only going to be so long before we reach the point where we got to roughly this time last year, where we were literally a day or 2 away from having to admit him to hospital to be force-fed. We talked to the point where we were talking about the options with the social workers and the doctors, because it's not as simple as just giving him a feeding tube, because he would just rip it straight out again. There is not a chance he would allow a feeding tube to be put in his mouth and kept in his mouth. He would just pull it straight out. So we agreed at the time, if it got to that, he'd have to be sedated and put on a feeding tube. And the prospect of that it's just awful. It's terrifying, because there's not going to be any way to explain to him what's going on. He's not going to want to be there. It's going to make the anxiety and other issues so much worse, and could potentially just put him off eating permanently, which is a horrible thought. So we kind of need him to just get better quickly, get to the point where he comes out the other side of it and just starts eating again. And that's exactly what he did last year. He got dangerously thin. His weight chart thing, which he's always been at the low end of the weight chart, but he has a massive dip from like January last year, where he just didn't eat for 2 or 3 weeks because he was ill. Didn't eat at all for 2 or 3 weeks. And it could be that we're hitting that again, because he's ill again. And it's so difficult. A few people have asked about his diet, and there's lots of videos on the channel about what he eats and what he doesn't eat, and I don't want to go over old ground again and again and again, but the general gist is, for those of you who are concerned, he is under the care of a dietitian. We do see a dietitian regularly. 95% of the food he eats is salt and vinegar Walker's crisps, because it's all he'll eat. He occasionally has a burger bun. He'll occasionally have a bowl of Rice Krispies with custard, and if he has them, then he'll have a vitamin supplement added to the custard, because he doesn't notice that it's there, and it's the only way we can get any vitamin supplements into him. He won't take any medication, he won't take any tablets, he just won't. We can't add it to his drinks. We have tried everything. The dietitian has tried everything. The social worker has tried everything. School, the respite people. There's so many professionals involved in trying to get him to eat some food. And ultimately, it always comes down to, unless he decides to, then there's not a lot we can do about it. We just have to sit and watch him have weight drop off him, which is awful. And as a parent, it's really difficult to not try and force him to eat, not like pin him down and pour food into his mouth, but like I noticed with Anna, just asking him more than usual, do you want some crisps now? Andy, have some crisps. Before you go upstairs, have something to eat. And it's completely well intentioned. I absolutely understand why she's doing it. But at the same time, that's just going to fire off his anxiety like nobody's business. We're trying our best to not make a big deal out of it and just leave him to make the decision to eat when he wants to eat. But there's also the whole pressure of, but at the same time, you need to make that decision now and start eating now. And I don't know where it's going to take us. On a slight side note to that, but on a related issue, I don't know that we're going to be back to normal service on any of my channels at the moment, because the likelihood is, for the time being, Andy's going to be off school. Not because he's refusing to go, but because he's sleeping all day, he's not eating, he is not well enough to go to school. We need to keep him where we can keep an eye on him and give him any and every opportunity to eat. And he needs to be at home. So this, for a lot of this week probably, he's likely to be at home. Anna's back at uni, which means I'm not going to be able to work during the day. So there might be days where we don't have time to make a vlog because I've got to prioritise making a Football Manager video, because ultimately the Football Manager videos are the ones that we get paid for. And we do have to pay the bills, so they've got to take priority. And we're probably not going to be back into 2 of them a day this week, because again, there just won't be the time to record 2 of those in a day. They sometimes might be a little bit late. So I apologise after a week of messing around last week that it looks like we're going to have potentially at least another week of a slightly inconsistent schedule, which is absolutely not how I like to do things, but needs must, and we need to try and get him better. So that takes priority right now. And we'll leave it there. If you have enjoyed today's vlog, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for us. Subscribe to the channel for more vlogs. I won't say the D word. And thank you very much for watching.